Today I am taking a stencil that was designed for summer flowers and turning it into a fall card project for a whole new look. Hi everyone, I'm Mindy Eggen and welcome to my channel. I would love it if you subscribed, liked this video, and shared it with your friends. Some of the supplies I'm going to be using today is the Summer Bouquet from Gina K Designs, the Thanks Polyglaze foiling sheets and die, and also the Mixed Messages sentiments. To create my background, I have a piece of layering weight cardstock cut to 6 by 6, and I'm going to put a little bit of repositionable tape on the back of it so that it sticks down to my work surface. This is just going to help it so my cardstock isn't sliding around. Then I'm going to take the first layer of the Summer Bouquet stencil and I am lining it up with the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm just taping that stencil down in place. Now before I start ink blending, I do sometimes get carried away with my ink blending, so I masked off the closest flower, and I'm going to start one of the flowers with sweet corn ink. It is very nice, light yellow, it's very warm. And then to step it up just a little bit, I'm going to take honey mustard with a mini blending brush, and I'm going to add that down at the bottom and blend up. So I have some nice warm petals on the outer edge and then darker towards the base. Now I'm going to remove that Post-it note. I'm going to mask off that flower, and I'm going to come in with sweet mango on this next one. Now you could do all of these flowers the same color, but I really wanted to create this fall vibe. I have had this idea in my head for quite a while, and I'm finally sitting down and playing with it and putting it to use. Now the second layer I'm coming in, or the second ink color I'm using, is Faded Brick. And then for that top flower, I'm going to come in with Peach Bellini, add that as kind of my base color, and I was really loving how Faded Brick was looking, so I'm going to bring that back in and add that to the base of this one with that Peach Bellini. I then decided to just have a little fun with this Faded Brick and my inks. Since this is fall colors and I love to mix a lot of my fall colors, I added some of that Faded Brick to the edges just a little bit. I also brought it over to the yellow flower, just kind of add different hints, because when it comes to fall leaves and fall colors, a lot of times you see a mixture of colors on a single leaf. So I'm going to add some of those colors into here into this to kind of amp up those colors. Now keep in mind that was just stencil 1, so you can get so much out of just one layer of the stencil. Now I'm bringing in the second layer. Again, I am lining it up with the bottom left-hand corner to keep everything lined up and consistent. And this is going to add the leaves. I'm starting off with Sandy Beach. Now, I originally was going to do some dark greens, but I thought that would almost be just too much color. It would almost be too colorful for me, and I would lose the flowers. So I decided to go with browns, which are a beautiful neutral color and very fallish. Then to add a little bit of contrast to that, I am bringing in chocolate truffle and just adding it to some of the sides of those leaves. Then for our third layer of the stencil, I am going to be using Dusty Rose. And I'll be honest, at this point, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't sure if I was liking those brown leaves. So I just kind of was randomly brushing this color over the stencil. And when I pulled it away, I set it off on the side for a while. I wasn't quite sure if I was feeling it. I liked the color of the flowers, but the leaves I wasn't for sure on. So I'm going to let that sit while I work on some foiling. I went ahead and turned my mini Minc on and then set it to the level 3. The mini Minc is great because it heats up super fast. Now I'm picking out some champagne Deco foil. So this is different than glimmer foil and what you would use with a glimmer machine. You want the Deco foil. And I'm using the Thanks Polyglaze sheets from Gina K Designs. You can see it's going to foil 4 of them all at once. So I'm going over my panel with a Swiffer cloth. I'm also going to buff the flip side or the back side of my foil with that Swiffer cloth as well. And then I'm going to place that over my polyglaze panel. So the sandwich for this is you have your sentiments facing up and its pretty side facing up of your foil. Then I put it in my carrier sheet. Always make sure that you have that folded edge going in first. That's just going to help prevent the rollers catching any open ends of the carrier sheet. Once I run that through, I can pull it out, let it sit for a few seconds, let it cool off a little bit. You're going to see a lot of like weird lines in your foil. I am confident that this foiled because I can see it in person where it's flattened against the cardstock. So once I peel that away, exactly as I thought, it foiled beautifully. So now I have all this shimmer and shine in these sentiments. But I only need one sentiment. I am going to just die cut out one and save the rest for later. So I used the coordinating shadow die for the word thanks, held that down with some tape. But now make sure when you are using tape, your tape does not touch the foil, just the die and the cardstock. Now, after this panel kind of sat off on the side, it grew on me and I was becoming very happy with it. I'm going to die cut out the panel using the Master Layouts 2. I love this size for a front panel. And then I'm going to back it with a piece of heavyweight cardstock that is just a little bit smaller. That's going to add a little bit of stability behind my panel because the layering weight is a lighter weight cardstock. Now, before I do anything else, I want to add some more shine to this. So I have some gold perfect pearls that I mixed with water, and I'm going to flick onto the background. And this is where everything sold me. Now I was in love. I love the colors. I loved the stencil. But adding these small gold flicks just pulled the whole project together for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and dry those flicks with my Ranger heat tool. And then while that's still drying, I'm going to layer together my thanks. So I die cut out a few of those shadow dies and I'm layering them together with my Connect glue. That's going to also build up stability and dimension. I'm going to add a smaller sentiment underneath. So this is from the Mixed Messages sentiment set. And I have this sentiment die. It's off of Master Layouts 9 that I'm going to trim it out with. But there are a few other die sets that Gina has that could possibly work for this. So I would say just go through your stash, or you can trim it out with a paper trimmer. But I really love that beveled edge and that finished look that the die provides. Then I'm going to take a black Copic marker and just go around at the edges because it's white on the edges and I want it to be consistent. So I go over the edges with the black Copic marker. I'm going to add my foam tape behind my panel and add it to a piece of Barely There cardstock. Now I gotta say, I have had this Barely There cardstock in my stash for a long time and I barely use it. But wow, it is a sleeper cell when it comes to fall cards. It was so perfect. It's subtle. It pulls in a little bit of those pink and red tones. So if you have some of this in your stash, dig that out because it is gorgeous. I'm taking my thanks sentiment that I foiled and I'm going to place that up towards the top. I debated with position a little bit, which is what I usually do, but I do end up settling on the original idea, which is up towards the top. Then I'm taking my small sentiment here that I trimmed out with that sentiment strip, and I have some black foam squares that I'm going to layer behind it and place that right underneath. Now, I was a little nervous about securing this down, so I'm taking some of my Connect glue and adding that to the back of the foam squares, and that's going to give me a little wiggle room in case I was a little off or maybe not straight. And then for a finishing touch, I'm going to bring out this pearl mix. So there is black, gold, silver, and I put them in a little triangle tray to help me kind of sort through. I'm going to add some of these gold pearls onto my card. I always start by placing them first. Once I'm happy with where they're going to go and how many I need, then I come in, add the liquid glue to it, and put it down onto my card. Now, I am so happy with how this turned out. I really have been wanting to try this idea for a while with this stencil, and it just goes to show you that you can extend the life of your stencil. It doesn't have to be, particular to a season, especially when it comes to flowers. And that foiled sentiment, it just shines on this project. All of the supplies will be listed down below in the video description and over on my blog. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I'll see you again real soon.